Hello there. Hello. Hello there. Hello everyone. Hi. I'm Karen White. I am the author of this book, Changing Your Game Plan, and welcome to Higher Self Wednesday. I'm so excited about this. I've decided that on Wednesdays I'm going to do the steps, and I'm so excited about this. And thank you for all the responses. Oh my gosh. People have been just responding to me and loving this and everything. So we're going to jump in. We're going to get started. We're going to recap. This is an event that's going to go from 15 to 30 minutes every Wednesday. This month I'm teaching on the 10th step, and we're going to just jump in, and I'm going to do a little bit of a recap on what we did last week, and then we're going to take it from there. So last week I started talking about step 10, which is continue to take personal inventory, and when you were wrong, promptly admit it. And one of the things that I always say that my sponsor taught me was to always look at the steps and what the steps, every single word in that step means. So last week I talked about what every word in step 10 means, which continue means to carry further into time or space or develop, extend. To means towards. Take means to become. Personal means of or relating to the private aspect of a person's life. Inventory means the process of making such a list, report of record. And means along with, in addition to. When means at the time that it took place. We means you, me, us, all of us. Were means we are. Wrong means in a wrong manner, mistakenly, or in a wrong course of direction. Promptly means carried out or performed without delay. Admit means to grant, to be real, valid, or true, acknowledge. And it means it's used to refer to a critical situation. So if you take that together and you put all those definitions together, step 10 means to carry further in time towards, becoming, or relating to a person's life. The process of making such a report, along with, in addition to, at the time, you, all of us, we are wrongs, which is in a matter that we do mistakenly sometimes, because we do wrong things mistakenly, but also in wrong course or directions that we do not mistakenly. To carry out and perform without delay. To grant, to be real, valid, or true, acknowledge in a critical situation. So powerful. One of the things recapping on that I said last week about step 10 is that step 10, 11, and 12, these are our continual steps. These are the steps that we will continuously do for the rest of our lives. These are our daily steps that we're practicing, because we're constantly on a daily basis looking at what are we doing? What have we done? What are we doing wrong? Not to the extent where we're just walking around, but you know, by this time when you get here, you know what you're doing and what you're not doing. And so when you do something wrong, it immediately appears to you, because you've worked, as I say, steps 1 through 9, because you can't get through to 10 until you work steps 1 to 9. You just can't get to 10. So by this time, you know exactly what you've been doing. You know exactly when you do things wrong, and so you're aware of it. But this step is the step that helps us to get back to ourselves, to get back to our peace quicker. And that's what's so important with this. And so last week I touched in on the promises last week, and I'm going to recap on those again. Now, I am reading from 4 books, which is the A Big Book, which is our Bible. So no matter what program you're in on this Higher Wednesday video, the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous is our Bible. This is where the steps formulated. This is where they were written from. Al-Anon, all the 9 groups and all that. We borrowed them from this book, but these are, the Big Book is still our Bible too as well that we read from. Anytime you hear, no matter what program you're in, you hear me say alcohol or liquor or whatever, because I am going to be reading from the 4 original books in this program, just put whatever your program is in that place. When I say liquor, you say gambling, you say sex, you say controlling, you say addiction, whatever. Just put your program if you have to make yourself relate to what I'm saying. So last week, let me go back. I'm going to go back. On Higher Self Wednesday, get your pen, get your journal, get your Big Book, get your AA 12 and 12. If you're in the non-programs, I'm going to be working from the Al-Anon 12 and 12 and the Al-Anon ODAT, because that was the original non-program. So I'm just going to do our original literature and just take what you like and leave the rest. It is my program and my teaching. But so you can get in here and you can study. This is for you. This is a study guide that I'm putting together so you can learn to study the steps so you can get better. So let's go to the Big Book on page right now. Go to your Big Book on page 83, and we're going to start recapping on the bottom where it says, if we are. And last week I said, it says, if we are painstaking. Now, when I tell you to, I'm going to say big words. Circle those words, because those are big words and we need to know what that means. Painstaking means attending to detail about the phase of our development. So if we are attending to detail about the phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. And then it goes on to say, we are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness. We are not going to regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. We will comprehend the word serenity, and we will know peace. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see how our experience can benefit others. That feeling of usefulness and self-pity will disappear. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our own fellows. Self-seeking will slip away. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. Fear of people and economic insecurities will leave us. We will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. We will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do for ourselves. Now, these are promises. This is not, the Big Book is not saying, oh, maybe this will happen. The Big Book is saying, if you work steps 1 through 9, and by time, and it says halfway through, you start feeling all these promises. But by time you're at 10, you will understand these totally, and you will have these going on in your life. I remember feeling the new happiness. I felt the new happiness when I did steps 1, 2, 3, because just to find out that I was powerless over alcohol and that my life had become unmanageable, and power over people, places, things, I was powerless, and it was a freedom for me. So this part of this promise probably happened to me in the first 3 steps. We will not regret the past nor wish to shut the door on it. No, because at this point, when you get here, you're starting to like yourself, and you're starting to understand that the good and bad of what you've gone through in life is what has made you who you are. And so you have appreciation that if you didn't go through those things, you might not be where you are. We will comprehend the word serenity and know peace. And the peace of that was just being able to go to sleep at night and just be peaceful at night and not having so many thoughts running through my mind. No matter how far down the scale we have gone, we will see our experience can benefit others. And you get, by that time, I was on 10, I was sponsoring people, I was seeing all my dirt benefiting other people and helping them get through their stuff. I thought it was dirt, and it became my assets. The feeling of usefulness and self-pity had disappeared, and it will disappear from you because you will see that you're very useful. You're useful to others and you're useful to yourselves. We will lose interest in selfish things and gain interest in our fellows. And I got a lot of that by going to meetings, because meetings took out a lot of my selfishness. And there became a time, and even now, I go to meetings to be there for others. Self-seeking will slip away, always seeking what's best for me. Now I know it's what's best for all of us. Our whole attitude and outlook upon life will change. I started to see life differently because of you guys in the program teaching me that the way that I was thinking was not the correct way, and I needed to think better, and giving me the tools to think better. Fear of people and economic insecurities will leave us. I stopped being afraid of people. If it happens, it just happens. If it doesn't, if you fire me, you just fire me. I'll get another job. I starting to live in reality that there was nothing I could do about the way you were thinking. The only thing that I could do was about me, and I could not let your my fear of you affect my life. Um, and it says, but the thing that I like the most, it says, we will intuitively know how to handle situations that used to baffle us. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I can handle this. Because the focus turned around, and the focus was about me. I started to learn in this program, was this my part? Should I do this? Should I help this? Should I go this way? Should I? This is what you learn in these rooms and in these steps. But the part that I love about this, it says we will suddenly realize that God is doing for us what we could not do from ourselves. I had become humble at this point and realizing that this was not Karen that did this. This was my higher power and my God of my understanding that I learned in step 3, that I built on through working all these steps, that I have the relationship today in my heart that lives inside of me, knowing that He had done all this. He had placed me, that He loved me after all because He got me to a program, that He loved me after all because He gave me great sponsors and great people in these programs to sit in these rooms and learn so many things for. But it wasn't me. The only thing that I was doing was putting one foot in front of the other and working the steps, and all these miracles started happening in my life. So I just wanted to recap, and then we're going to keep moving forward. We got a lot of information to cover, and we only have a month to do it. So I'm going to move forward. So we're on page 84. So I'm going to start with where it says, are these extravagant promises? We think not. They are being fulfilled among us, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. They will always materialize. Now, circle that. That's a big word. Materialize means becoming actual fact or happening. So let's go back and read that with that definition. They will always become fact or happen if we work them. The responsibility of us feeling and doing and gaining and becoming what we want to be has to do with us putting one foot in front of the other and working these steps, and we will, and you will get to these promises. It goes on to say, this thought brings us to step 10, which suggests we continue to take personal inventory and continue to set wrong any mistakes as we go along. And it just circle, set right any mistakes as we go along. It says we vigorously commence, big word, circle it. Commence means effort or energy spontaneously. So if we go back and read this, we vigorously set effort and energy this way of living as we clean up the past. We have entered the world of the spirit. Our next function is to grow in understanding and effectiveness. That's another big word. This is not an overnight matter. It should continue for our lifetime. Continue to watch for, and now we're going to go into the area that we need to continue on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, as best as we can, facing these, because we don't like to face these things, but we have to face these things if we're going to walk down this path of recovery. And it says, we got to watch for our selfishness. Nobody sees selfishness in me until I take the action. They don't see the thought in my head. It starts here first. So I have to learn to watch in my head, me, what I'm thinking. Is that selfishness? Is that going to benefit others? Is that going to really benefit me? At the end, it's not. If I do something selfish, piss people off, I got to turn around and make amends and all this. So selfishness, watch for it. Dishonesty, resentment, and fear. All these start in our head before we take the action. So if you can catch them here in this committee here and break them down and see why you're feeling like that, and why you're I'm usually nervous about something or don't want to do what I need to do. Procrastination causes a lot of these things. My fear, my non-part of this is the fear of not somebody not how they're going to respond to me. This causes me. My addictive part of this is, I want what I want, when I want it, how I want it. So, and it goes on to say, when these crop up, this is what we do. We ask God at once to remove them, because by this time we have done 6 and 7, and we know the things that we need to remove. We understand the word remove at this time. The word removes, and I'll talk about that back when we get to 7. But the word remove means not necessarily taking it away. It means sometimes remove means from one place to another. And a lot of my character defects didn't have to go away. They were just in the wrong place, and I had to put them in the right place. So when I see this, we ask God at once to remove them. Some of them have to be gone. But when we're asking God, sometimes he needs to remove them to the right place for us. But it's funny how we have to start with God first. We have to start with God first and our higher power. And it says, we discuss them with someone immediately. Immediately. This is very hot. We want to feel better. We don't want to go down this path. The second thing we do, the first thing we ask God, the second thing we do, we get on the phone with our sponsor, our friends in the program, go to a meeting, talk to somebody, and ask someone immediately about what we did, especially if it hasn't become clear to us to make the amends right away, but we feel funny about it. We feel like, oh, well, maybe they said something first and I just said it. When you start talking to yourself like that, ask somebody immediately, is this okay? And let them help you. Let them come in your life and make it better for you. And make amends quickly if we have harmed anyone. Then we resolutely, and that's a big word. So that word, resolutely, means purposeful, determined, and unwavering manner. Purposeful, determined, and unwavering manner. So when I look at that, then we purposeful, determined, in an unwavering manner turn our thoughts to someone who can help us. I don't know why I can't get purposeful, that word together, but anyway. And then it goes on to say, love and tolerance of others is our code. Can you imagine that? Being alcoholic or addictive or controlling a non person, thinking that love and tolerance is our code. By the time we get to 10, we're thinking, we got to be loving. We got to be tolerant. It's amazing what these steps will do for you if you work them. Goes on to say, and we have ceased fighting anyone or anything, even alcohol. For by this time sanity will have returned. We will seldom be interested in liquor. So remember, take that word and put whatever your program is. If we're tempted, we recall. And recall, circle that word because that's a big word too. That word is huge. It means something is successful. It says it is suddenly springing into fear, horror, or disgust. So if we recall something, it means we recall from it. That means we recall from our fear, our horror, or our disgust. And it says in here, as a from a hot flame. So it says we recall from it as from a hot flame, meaning that it can burn us and it can set us back. And it goes on to say we react sanely and normally, and we will find that this has happened just automatically. Sanity and normal, just automatically. Remember, when you're doing these steps, you are constantly, and if you work in these steps, you're constantly shocking yourself. You're constantly going, oh, when you see yourself that way and you're going, oh, I acted like that, I didn't have to do that, wow, you're on the right path because you are shocking yourself. You're seeing yourself a different way. You're seeing yourself reacting a different way. You're feeling different about it. You're hearing things differently. You're speaking differently. So that's normal. You're supposed to feel like that. It says, we will see that our new attitude toward liquor has been given us without any thought or effort on our past. It just comes. That is the miracle of it. We are not fighting it, neither are we avoiding temptation. I love that part because we're not fighting it and we're not having to avoid the temptation because we're just right here. And what our program teaches us, the slogans, the minute, the hour, the second, one day at a time, just for today. These slogans are what we start becoming. We start living like this. We start seeing things like this. It says, we feel as though we have been placed in a position of neutrality, safe and protected. I like neutrality because it means this. That's a big word, circle it. The state of not supporting or helping either side in a conflict or a disagreement. Isn't that powerful? Our position now is the state of not supporting or helping either side in a conflict or a disagreement. It says, we have not even sworn off. Instead, the problem has become removed. It does not exist for us. We are neither cocky nor are we afraid. This is our experience. This is how we react, so as long as we keep in fit spiritual condition. We have to keep in our spiritual condition. It says, it is easy to let up on the spiritual program of action and rest on our laurels. We are headed for trouble if we do, for alcohol is a subdue foe. And circle those two words, subdue and foe. Subdue means crafty and cunning. Foe means an enemy at war. We are not cured of alcoholism or any addiction or whatever our problem is. We're not. It says what we really have is a daily reprieve contingent on the maintenance of our spiritual condition. That means what we have is a daily reprieve, and that means on a daily basis making sure, maintaining that we stay fit by doing what we need to do. Our repetition that I talked about last week of doing things over and over again to stay fit. Every day is a day when we must carry the vision of God's will into all of our activities. How can I best serve thee? Thy will, not mine, be done. These are the thoughts we must go with consistently. We can exercise our willpower along this line as we wish. It is the proper use of our will. Much has already been said about receiving strength, inspiration, and directions from Him who knows all knowledge and power. If we have carefully followed directions, we have begun to sense the flow of His Spirit in us. To some extent, we have become God conscious. We have begun to develop this virtual sixth sense, but we must go further, and that means more action. So now, by this time, step 10, we have realized that this program of action, number one, we're going to be doing this the rest of our lives. That we have not gotten it. We have to maintain it. That means we have to go to meetings, we have to do readings, we have to talk to our sponsors, we have to sponsor people, we have to just continue talking to people about us. We have to constantly continue to get things out of us so that we can become this betterly self-sufficient person that we want to be, that we can like ourselves, that we can love ourselves, that we can appreciate our purpose here, what God has made of us, and that we can appreciate our spiritual part, which is the part that God lives inside of us, which this tells us that. And we can start to feel Him working in our lives and understanding the betterness that He wants for us. So with that, I have about 3 more minutes left on the 10th step. We got through the 10th step in the big book. We will continue next week with the other literature. When you're on here, like I said, have a pen, all 4 books, which is the big book, the AA 12 and 12, the Al-Anon 12 and 12, the ODAT. Have a note. Let's study these. This is about you. The reason I decided to do 1 day a week is so you can go back over these videos and just go back in and study this and get this down in you so that you can maintain this. It's very important that we on a daily basis look at what we're doing and where we're at. If we don't, we can fall back into it. This step, it tells us we have to maintain. We have to maintain this. That this is nothing. It says we have to daily maintain our spiritual condition. Daily. We don't just get a shot and it's over. We have to daily go back and take that medicine every day so that we can become and do what we need to do. So continue to do your readings, go to meetings, talk to your sponsor, get a sponsor if you don't have a sponsor, and continue on this journey. I'm here with you. I will be here with you. We will continue through step 10. We'll continue to learn on the other side of it, what we need to do as far as our relationships. And let's just get better. I love you. Thank you so much for being here with me. And blessings over you, great people, and have a wonderful day.